It's for a good cause, I swear. By Sarah 1281. Chapter 34. Finally getting around to telling people. The next day, Minato, Anko, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Itachi were all waiting in Minato's office for whatever incredibly important and mildly top-secret news Team 7 had for them. Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto were pacing outside of the office, and Kakashi hadn't shown up yet. Although they really weren't sure if that was just a regression into his old tardiness or an attempt to avoid having to partake in the long overdue secret telling. The newly promoted Chunin were shamelessly eavesdropping to see if any of the 5 they felt really should know their secret had any idea what they were about to tell them. But as of yet, it didn't appear that they did.
So, I hear you lost a bet to Kakashi about whether or not his whole team would pass.
Jiraiya was saying.
Whatever happened to all of that? Have faith in your students you were on my case about earlier.
I had plenty of faith in Sakura, Tsunade replied. And in Naruto for that matter. He's such a determined and hardworking individual. That he is, Minato smiled fondly. He's really a good kid. So you didn't have faith in Sasuke? Itachi inquired, staring straight at the slug princess. It's nothing personal, Tsunade explained. I've met the kid and he seems decent enough, and Naruto and Sakura really seem to like him. It's just something about him just screams vengeance will be mine, and that is rather unsettling.
He was rather pro-vengeance after the massacre,
Anko mused.
But then a year or so ago, he seemed to decide against it. Or at least decided to keep quiet about it. Too bad.
Too bad, Itachi replied, raising an eyebrow. You think this is a bad thing? Anko shook her head.
Not exactly. It's probably better for him and will leave him happier and saner in the long run. But I kind of miss those discussions we used to have.
Those mildly disturbing ones where you would describe in great detail all the ways you wanted to torture Orochimaru before killing him. Itachi asked. Anko smiled nostalgically.
Yeah, those were the days. You probably don't want to hear this, but your brother actually had some very creative ideas on the subject.
You're right. I'd rather not hear about it, Itachi said shortly.
You're the one who got vengeance in the end, though,
Anko noted wistfully. Itachi looked surprised. Vengeance? Anko nodded.
By sealing him away forever, which is probably the best you could have done, given his long-held interest in cheating death. You got vengeance for me, for Sasuke, for everyone he's experimented on and killed, and for yourself.
I have never sought vengeance, Itachi told her.
And yet you got it anyway,
Anko replied with a shrug.
Lucky.
Kakashi had apparently felt he'd made them wait long enough, as he chose that moment to stroll casually towards the Hokage's office. So, he asked cheerfully, how did it go?
We didn't actually get around to telling them yet,
Naruto told him bluntly. Seeing as the whole reason we're in this situation is because of you, we thought it would be only right to wait for you, Sasuke added. And you'll probably want a chance to tell your side of the story too, Sakura told him. Because if it's just up to us, you might need to steal Naruto's idea and head straight to Suna. You what? Kakashi demanded, looking horrified. Well, in that case, good luck, and I'll be back in 20 minutes. Not happening, Sasuke said firmly. He pushed open the door as Naruto and Sakura pushed their teacher through. So nice of you to join us, Kakashi, Minato said dryly. And only 2.5 hours late, too. I severely underestimated my students' patience, Kakashi said by way of explanation.
So what is it you wanted to tell us?
Jiraiya wanted to know.
Does it have anything to do with how Naruto knows Senjutsu when I know you don't know it?
And why are you only telling us? Tsunade asked. Minato looked stunned. Naruto knew Senjutsu? Since when? Jiraiya shrugged.
I don't know, but he was using it the night of the invasion. I take it that means you didn't know?
I can answer all of your questions, Kakashi promised. Glaring at his team, he continued. Frankly, I'd rather someone else did. But as I seem to be out of options, answer me this. Do any of you believe in time travel? No, Tsunade answered immediately.
No.
Jiraiya agreed. No, Minato said. No. Itachi concurred.
No.
Anko finished off the denials. Well, I do, Kakashi stated. I believe in time travel. I didn't used to, but then I found a time-traveling scroll 4 years from now and got Naruto to power it, and so here we are. You're saying you time-traveled, Tsunade repeated. I am not nearly drunk enough to be having this conversation. Neither are you, for that matter. Does that mean that Naruto also came with you? Minato asked. Where did you come back to? Not just Naruto. Kakashi replied. But Sasuke and Sakura do.
I'm still not sure I believe you,
Anko told him.
If things were so dire that you had to time travel, then why didn't you tell anyone about this beforehand? Even if you wanted to keep it a secret, you should have at least told the Hokage. Unless they already did.
He looked at Minato for confirmation. Minato shook his head. This was the first time hearing of it. Not to mention that they are awfully cavalier for having the world destroyed.
We never said that the world was destroyed, Sakura spoke up. Actually, when things settled down, they were pretty okay, although everything was a mess for a few years.
If everything was okay, then why in the world would you have time traveled?
Jiraiya demanded. We were unsatisfied with our lives, Sasuke replied. Well, except for Sakura. We're not really sure why she wanted to go.
I told you! I wasn't about to be left behind again, Sakura said fiercely. You were always leaving me behind!
Say we believe you. Itachi addressed Kakashi. We can work out whether we actually do or not later. If your story is true and the future was fine, what did you come back to change? I can only speak for myself, Kakashi began. I came back the day or so after I made Chunin.
That far back?
Anko's eyes widened.
That means you're, 10 years older than me?
Mentally, perhaps, Kakashi allowed. Is that going to be a problem?
It would have been nice to know,
Anko said honestly. Which is why I'm telling you now, Kakashi replied. Minato-sensei went off to help our forces on the front lines and tasked us with destroying some bridge. I don't even remember what it was called. Rin was captured by the enemy, and Obito wanted to go back for her. I did not.
That was years ago, Minato said gently. She forgave you a long time ago for your hesitation, and you came through for her in the end.
Kakashi swallowed. This time. Before, I wouldn't listen. I was stupid and arrogant and refused to consider the possibility that Obito was right, that anything could be more important than the mission. I didn't want to end up like my father, so I let Obito go off alone. I did change my mind eventually and caught up with him. He looked almost like he was desperate for them to believe him. I'm sure you were, Minato assured him. What happened then? What went wrong? Right after I got there, someone snuck up behind Obito. I saved him, but it cost me my eye. Kakashi continued, unconsciously touching the eye he should have lost that day. Obito and I went in anyway and rescued Rin. Our teamwork was better than it had been, but on our way out, there was a boulder. I wasn't paying attention to the enemy we had downed but not killed, and I should have been. That boulder should have crushed me. It didn't. That sounds like a good thing, Tsunade noted. It would have been, Kakashi agreed, had the reason I was fine not been Obito pushing me out of the way at the last second and getting crushed himself. He gave me his Sharingan, which he had only awoken less than half an hour before, to make up for the eye I lost, saving him. He called it a Jonin present since he hadn't gotten me one earlier. I didn't realize what the kunai you gave me really was, and so when I used it, it called you, and you saved Rin and I from the Iwa reinforcements. Just like I did years ago, Minato said softly. Except that Obito... Exactly, Kakashi nodded. We went on to destroy the bridge, and end the war. I've always been a genius, so you can imagine the things I could do with a Sharingan. I may not be an Uchiha, but I could wield it better than most of them ever could. I got a reputation as Sharingan Kakashi, which I must confess I much prefer to my current moniker, Man Down Kakashi. But beggars can't be choosers, and I wasn't desperate enough to go corpse robbing. Rin died a little later, and even though I didn't come back to save her, things had changed enough by that point that she lived.
Don't forget to mention the big thing,
Naruto prompted.
Because Sasuke bet me better than Rio that it wouldn't turn out the way it has the last 3 times the subject has come up.
Kakashi rolled his eyes. Right. You never told anyone how you planned to stop the Kyuubi all those years ago. By the time we found out, it was too late. You were dead, and Naruto was an orphan. Nobody but Jiraiya and the Saindame really even knew what the seal was. The Saindame chose to try and protect Naruto from your enemies by not revealing who he was, until he had Kushina's name. While no one felt the need to mention that he was the son of a hero, the Saindame did decide to inform everyone of Naruto's Jinchuriki status.
So?
Anko was puzzled.
Everyone knows now, and it's fine. I mean, maybe he wouldn't get special treatment for being the Hokage's son if nobody knew, but still.
Naruto snorted.
That's only because of Dad's My Son is a Hero campaign. With him dead, and old man Hokage pretending not to know who I was? Well, with the fact that no one seemed to know anything about my parentage, a lot of people just assumed I was the Kyuubi sealed in human form. I'd rather not go into the details, but my childhood was far from idyllic. I didn't even find out why everyone hated me until I was 12. And someone who tried to betray the village decided to let me know, as there was a law preventing anyone from telling anyone, including me. But didn't hear about my Jutsu status from the official announcement.
Minato's eyes flashed. I can't believe they would spit on your sacrifice like that. You haven't had any problems in this timeline, have you?
None whatsoever,
Naruto assured his father.
In fact, it's kind of disturbing, just how little hatred I'm getting. Before, I needed to defeat the guy who destroyed Konoha and convince him to bring half the village back to life before I was so universally accepted.
I'm going to need to hear about that. You do realize, Minato said seriously. Whoever managed that sounds like a threat.
I'm going to need to hear about it, too.
Jiraiya added.
Oh, well, mostly just because it sounds like quite a story.
Was that what you meant when you said that Sandame's assertion that you were not responsible for his death would save you from many an accusation of murder? Itachi asked suddenly. And why you needed written proof? For all the good that it did me, Kakashi muttered. Wait, Minato said slowly. Does this mean you killed the third? Kakashi just groaned. Naruto blinked.
Wait, he asked if that was the case, instead of just assuming that it was. Does that count?
I don't know, Sasuke admitted. Sakura smirked. I think it does. And if you really wanted me to agree with you, maybe you shouldn't have given me such a hard time during the exam. I don't know what you're talking about, Sasuke denied as he reluctantly reached into one of the pockets of his new Chunin vest and took out 500 Ryo.
You're the best, Sakura-chan!
Naruto cheered as he pocketed his winnings. Minato was confused. What? So is that everything? Tsunade inquired, bringing them back on topic. Kakashi thought back. Everything important, I think. Wait, no. Back when Hinata was 3 and that Kumo ambassador tried to kidnap her, Hiyashi was supposed to kill him, and so when Kumo demanded blood, Hisashi was killed and sent over instead, so the Byakugan would remain out of Kumo's hands. Neji had even more issues because of that. Minato looked mildly horrified. Even more issues than the ones that already caused him to fail the MSR? You did what you had to do, Kakashi. So that's basically it, Kakashi finished. And finding out that they would have been dead before they even got a chance to meet Sasuke or Naruto was part of the reason that I didn't want them to be here today. Only part, Itachi asked shrewdly. Naruto nodded, figuring it was his turn next.
The other part has to do with when and why I came back. Everyone already knows this except for Bachan and Anko, I think. But it doesn't really matter if Bachan knows, and we can't really make Uncle leave the room now, can we?
Don't call me that, Tsunade cried.
We've been over this before, Naruto reminded her. If you want me to stop calling you Bachan, then you need to stop being old.
I'm not old, Tsunade insisted.
But you call everyone Sennin old, and you're the same age,
Naruto pointed out. Tsunade closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Trying to murder the brat in front of his father was probably not the way to go. Just hurry up and tell us whatever you came back for.
Keep in mind that this was before I realized that we ended up in the same timeline,
Naruto told them.
I knew that Sasuke had some revenge issues when he grew up, and so I intended to be there for him after the massacre.
Only intended?
Jiraiya asked curiously.
I met Kakashi on a double date with Uncle Obito and Rin and realized that something wasn't quite right. And the two of us eventually realized that we had both time traveled,
Naruto explained.
So I decided to... I remember that,
Uncle interrupted.
You couldn't believe we were dating. I believe your words were something along the lines of Ango of all people. To be fair, Kakashi was pretty much the confirmed bachelor before we went back,
Naruto defended himself.
And like I was saying, after I found out that Sasuke was coming back as well, I decided I didn't want my trip back to be wasted, so I decided to...
Decided to what? Itachi asked quietly, not looking at Sasuke. He never did when the subject of the destruction of the Uchiha clan came up. Naruto steeled himself.
I decided to impersonate Orochimaru! I had Kakashi gather a crowd and provide plenty of witnesses, then he was the one who killed everyone!
Tsunade didn't look surprised.
She had probably realized that wiping out such a powerful and versatile Genkai Genkai wasn't her former teammate's style.
Anko, however, was quite shocked. You mean that's not what happened? Then who did?
There was silence for a moment before Sasuke finally broke it by replying, "My brother."
But why? And why is he still here? I mean, he was only 13. Wasn't he?
Uncle fired off the questions in rapid succession. Since nobody else seemed like they wanted to deal with these questions, Sasuke replied, "Yes, he was. He didn't do it alone, though. Madara also partook in the massacre. As for the why, my family was planning a coup. It took me years, really, to make my peace with it, as it were. But now that Madara is dead and Danzo, Koharu, and Homura are long dead, I consider all that settled." "When did you come back?" Minato demanded, his eyes wide. "Shortly before hearing the news of Danzo's murder-suicide," Sasuke said neutrally. "What happened to the three of them in your timeline?" Minato asked seriously. "Did you have anything to do with it?"
In our timeline? Danzo didn't kill himself and them when we turned 11.
Naruto immediately spoke up, for the moment not caring that he was lying to the Hokage and his father.
I think the difference in Konoha must have pushed up his timetable. When I was 16 or so, and Danzo was confronted with the results of his machinations, he decided to take himself and the council with him.
"So why did you come back then?" Tsunade asked. "If not for vengeance." "I wanted to have a year to readjust it myself to being a child again, so I could hopefully handle everything better than I did before," Sasuke replied carefully. "Last time, I blamed everyone for what happened, even though I knew it wasn't really their fault. I didn't care. I just wanted... I don't know what I wanted. I had been in the vengeance business for a long time and wasn't sure what to do once I found out that Itachi wasn't evil after all. I only wish I had found out before he died." Sasuke, despite the fact he'd known for years that this day would come, although not the details, as he'd never given much thought to the fantastical concept of time traveling, Itachi really didn't know what to say. "For years you lied to me, you know," Sasuke said, trying to sound casual. "And I don't mean about Orochimaru having done it. Before, there was no one else to take the blame. So you became officially a missing nin. That was the plan, before Naruto and Kakashi stepped in, right? You waited until I came home and told me you killed everyone to test your capacity. That you weren't going to kill me because you wanted to see if I could ever provide a challenge for you. And that if I wanted to kill you, I'd need the Megankyo Sharingan." He glanced at Naruto. "My best friend didn't like that idea, but once you died, I gained it anyway. Despite all of that, or the reasons I should or should not have, I forgave you the minute I found out that wasn't true." "You shouldn't," Itachi confirmed. "But thank you. We can talk more about it later," Sasuke offered. "I mean, I really don't want to, and I doubt that you do either, but it's just one of those things that have to be done." "I agree," Itachi said succinctly. "Why did you change, Sakura?" Tsunade asked, trying to get them to move past the Uchiha madness. Naruto immediately started coughing. Sakura glared at him. "Not one word, or I'll take back your bet win and have Kakashi be the winner." "I have always felt that Sakura had valid reasons for joining us, and we benefit greatly from her lack of traumatizing issues," Kakashi said immediately. Sasuke rolled his eyes. "Suck up." "I may not have had any big issues I wanted to change, per se," Sakura admitted, "especially since the boys took care of their own problems. I just wanted to try and keep Team 7 from self-destructing. Again." She paused and then glared at Sasuke. "And not to be useless." Sasuke sighed. "Which you eventually managed," he conceded. "For the record, that's why we're not telling my parents," Sakura informed everyone. "They wouldn't understand the lack of a real reason to come back, especially since we did eventually manage to work through a lot of the team's issues." "Were you my student last time?" Tsunade inquired. Sakura nodded. "You agreed to train me after Sasuke tried to kill Naruto and ran off to live with Orochimaru in Oto." "Stop making it sound like we're having an affair," Sasuke ordered.
You know, for someone who claims that didn't happen, you're awfully defensive about it,"
Naruto remarked. "So," Kakashi said brightly, "any questions?"